Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today we'll be taking a look at Volume 6 of Shuzo Oshimi's Welcome Back, Alice. I haven't talked about this book since the first volume comes out, which is normally what I do with manga series that are still coming out. I'll just review the first volume and then just kind of enjoy the rest of them, and then maybe I'll go back after a series is done and say how I feel about the ending of it or whatever. But this volume of Welcome Back, Alice is so intense, and I'm such a huge Shuzo Oshimi fan. You can watch a lot of other videos we recorded about his material on the channel. But this volume in particular, like when I was reading it, I had the most viscerally uncomfortable physical response I've ever had while reading a comic, and I had to talk about it. I'm gonna be spoiling some stuff, so if you're into this series or you want to get into it and you haven't read it yet, hang out on. Don't watch this video because I gotta do some spoilers to talk about it. But man, this is an amazing book. This book so far has been like a little love triangle story between Kei, Yo, and Mitani. Kei and Yo were childhood friends. Kei was a boy. They were both young boys that were friends and had a really close relationship. They split apart during middle school and then got brought back together years later in high school. They may have even split up during grade school at some point. I'm not sure at what age they were no longer in the same school. And the whole time, Yuo has also had a crush on Matani, and so they're finally like in a relationship together. Kei has come back now presenting as a female rather than a male, and is in typical Shuzo Ashimi fashion. You've got like high school kids where you've got like a third character kind of encouraging the main character into a sexual relationship while also sexually tempting him and kind of psychologically abusing him. There's a lot of, once you've read all of Shuzo Ashimi's work, there is a formula there, and that gets a little old. Uh, Up to this point in Welcome Back, Alice, it's been a book I've been hesitant about. Like, I don't know where it stands with the rest of his work for me because it is kind of playing the formula out over again. And I recognize it now. If this was the first Shuzo Oshimi book I had read, it would probably be like, ah, this is amazing. But up to this point, it's been, I kind of get it. You've done this before. But he's always really good at, like, at some point something will change. He'll set you up thinking you know what's going on, and this is the volume where things start to get really dramatic. So I'm excited to see where things go from here. But basically, you have Yo is confused about his feelings. Does he really want to sleep with Matani, or is he attracted to and in love with Kei? Especially now that Kei is presenting as a female and is like really pretty and stuff. So that's kind of the basis for everything that's been set up in the previous volumes, the manipulations between the characters, their relationships. In this, Yo and Matani finally have sex, and he really just doesn't enjoy the experience. He says, if this is sex, I'm fine not having sex for the rest of my life. And that obviously, like, really, really throws Matani over the edge. She's tells him, she gets mad, after all that I've suffered, I try so hard, you fucked the shit out of me, and now you're just gonna run away. She tried so hard to seduce him, and then he gets his, and it's just like, that's not for me. And that sends Yo into this crisis. Like, he's obviously been lusting after this girl the whole time. uh, Kei has been like seducing him and teasing him and working him up, and he just gets so distressed by sexuality. And then you have this image here. I turned to this image and I just thought, oh my god, like, it's not the most well drawn image in the world or anything, but the design of it is just over the top, like impactful. That he just feels like chained down by his gender. He feels chained down by his sexuality at all. And I think that's such an intense image. And then over the next couple pages, he decides that he's got to cut off his junk, and he's got the razor blade there. They've got the edited out penis, and then you just get. I'm not even gonna show it, but you get one or two chapters full, super decompressed manga style, super emotionally intense of this guy trying to cut his junk off. and I was just squirming while I was reading it. It was so impactful. One of the most intense things I've ever read. Then the friends come to visit him in the hospital, and Kay and Yo have a conversation where they both kind of realized it's not that they want to be the other gender. So this isn't a book about like a trans character so much. It's just that the move away from being a male into being a female was an attempt to get away from sex altogether. And both of them have felt like they failed in it. Like Kay feels like turning to a girl didn't quite do it. Yo obviously is, I don't know if he kept his, they didn't make it clear if he was able to finish his task or not, or if it got put back on. But he's asking Kay like, hey, I want to move past sex, I want to get to the other side. And that idea of the other side is something that's also very present in the Flowers of Evil. And so this idea to get to the other side of lust now as the other side is a new theme in Oshimi's work. And all of his work to me feels very much like he is processing his own past traumas. That seems very obvious that he was abused by a female classmate at some point, and also abused by his mother. I don't know how, but it's very clear throughout the work and his essays in the back that that was the case, and he's working it out. And he's very much in this one seems to be trying to write himself out of sexuality altogether. And that's confirmed in the back. Something that I really like about Oshimi's work. Usually I wouldn't like this where an artist explains their motivations for each book, but his work seems like it is coming from such a personal place that it's hard not to get like curious about what that is. And he's usually in the back of the books talking about what he is learning about himself by doing the work. And he's basically saying what the work is saying is that he himself spent so much time obsessed with sex and so much time wanting to be a girl almost out of admiration for females. Like that's the other side he wanted to get to. And now he's realizing that his obsession with sex in general was the problem, not that he wanted to be a girl, but that he just doesn't want to be a sexual being at all. And he says, I'm the one who created that boundary. It wasn't there. All borders are illusions. The other side isn't far away, but right here with me. All I need to do now is to erase the line. It should be very simple. So this seems like what he's writing in his work is spurring action in his real life. I don't know what that is exactly, but it's so interesting as a body of work, even though it has these repetitions in it. It almost is like this mantra this character or this real life author is telling themselves over and over again, but tweaking it each time to get closer to the discovery they're really looking for. And so individually, any volume is very, very, gut wrenching like this one is. And then any like full series always takes a really interesting twist and turns. But then also, if you look at the body of work, I think it's a really compelling, like tight package body of work, which is pretty rare for any author to do so many different stories, but be chewing over the same thing, and not just chewing it over endlessly, but actually seeming to move forward in some sense psychologically themselves as the characters move forward. So love Shuzo Oshimi's work. This Welcome Back Alice Volume 6 really, like I said, is one of the most intense comics I've ever read. So if you haven't read Shuzo Oshimi's work before, definitely go get yourself some.
Back to